After securing a spot through a special lottery, Makoto Naegi, an otherwise ordinary student, gains admission to the prestigious Hope's Peak Academy, a school renowned for nurturing exceptionally talented high school students. However, as soon as Makoto steps foot onto the academy's grounds, he suddenly loses consciousness. When he awakens, he finds himself inside a classroom fortified with steel plates and equipped with numerous surveillance cameras. Following written instructions that direct him to gather in the gymnasium, Makoto encounters 14 other students, each with their own unique talents, who are similarly trapped. Among them is Sayaka Mizuno, a pop idol he remembers from his middle school days. It is then that a strange figure makes its appearance, a remote-controlled bear calling itself Headmaster. Monokuma announces that all of them will be confined within Hope's Peak Academy for the remainder of their lives, and the only way to graduate is by murdering a fellow student and escaping undetected. Rejecting this horrifying proposition, the group spends several days scouring the school for another exit, desperate for an alternative. In response, Monokuma claims that they all need motives to spur them into action, presenting each student with a personalized DVD design. Makoto's disc shows his family in grave danger, which leaves him shaken, while Sayaka is also disturbed by what she sees on her own video. In an attempt to ease her fears, Makoto reassures her, promising that he will find a way for both of them to escape together. Later, Sayaka, still visibly frightened, approaches Makoto and confesses that she suspects someone is targeting her. To help her feel safer, she suggests they switch rooms for the night, wanting to comfort her. Makoto agrees. The following morning, Makoto makes a horrifying discovery. Sayaka's lifeless body lies inside his bathroom, stabbed in the stomach with a kitchen knife. Consumed by shock and grief, Makoto hardly has time to process what happened before Monokuma reappears, explaining the rules of this so-called killing game. He declares that Sayaka's death is the work of one of the students, and the rest must hold a class trial to determine who the culprit is. Should they correctly identify the murderer, that student alone will be executed, but if they accuse the wrong person, the true killer will be released, and the rest of the class will be executed in their place. When Junko Inoshima, a fashion icon among the students, strikes Monokuma in protest, she is gruesomely executed by a barrage of spears, serving as a chilling example of what happens to those who defy the rules. From that moment, the rules are clear, and their electronic handbooks are updated with all known details of the crime. Because Sayaka was killed in his assigned room, suspicion immediately falls on Makoto. The group begins investigating, uncovering crucial evidence, including a blood-written message. 11,037. Before the trial, Makoto stumbles upon Sayaka's motive DVD, which reveals that her fellow idol group members had all been massacred by Monokuma, who promised to explain the reason only if she managed to graduate. As they enter the courtroom, Makoto receives cryptic yet encouraging advice from the enigmatic Kyoko Kirigiri. During the trial, swimmer Alia Sahina testifies that she and martial artist Sakura Ogami saw Sayaka enter the kitchen the night before. Coinciding with the disappearance of a kitchen knife, Kyoko then clears Makoto by noting that, since male dorm bathrooms do not lock, Makoto would not have needed to tamper with his own doorknob to access the room. Further evidence presented by Kyoko shows that Sayaka herself had willingly invited someone into the room, intending to kill them and frame Makoto, but her plan backfired, and she was slain instead. Reflecting on the dying message, Makoto realizes 11,037 is actually Leon written upside down. He accuses Leon Kawada, the baseball star, of being the true culprit. The claim is confirmed by evidence proving Leon attempted to dispose of his bloody clothing in a way only a skilled baseball player could manage. Additionally, the dismantling of the bathroom doorknob could only have been done using the toolset Leon possessed. With the evidence stacked against him, Leon is unanimously declared guilty and executed in a brutal display, being pelted with hundreds of baseballs until death. That night, Kyoko offers Makoto solace, suggesting that Sayaka may have left her dying message specifically to protect him. Following the first class trial, Monokuma unlocks the academy's second floor, granting access to a library and a swimming pool with gender-segregated locker rooms. While exploring the library, the students discover a broken laptop, a suspicious letter stating that Hope's Peak Academy had been closed for some time, and a storeroom filled with confidential files. Meanwhile, Makoto witnesses writer Toko Fukawa revealing her infatuation with Byakuya Togami, the arrogant arrow among the group, before stumbling upon an unusual event. A sauna endurance contest between biker Mondo Avada and hall monitor Kiyotaka Ishimaru, which unexpectedly leads to a strong bond of camaraderie between them. Soon afterward, Monokuma reveals the next motive. Unless someone is killed within 24 hours, he will expose every Oni personal secrets. The following day, programmer Chihiro Fujisaki is discovered murdered in the girls' locker room, strung up in a crucifix-like position with the words "Bloodbath Fever" scrawled on the wall. Peculiar details surface during the investigation. Gambler Celestia Ludenberg also testifies that she saw Chihiro the night before. Byakuya, meanwhile, tells Makoto he suspects the infamous serial killer Genocider Sho, who is a signature of crucifying victims in a similar fashion. At the same time, Toko behaves strangely, locking herself in her room, and mutters about having failed to keep a promise to Byakuya. During the second trial, Byakuya accuses Toko of being the culprit, revealing that she suffers from dissociative identity disorder. When pressured, her alternate personality surfaces, Genocider Sho herself. Though she openly admits to being a serial killer, she denies responsibility for Chihiro's death, explaining that she always uses scissors as her weapon. Unlike in this case, suspicion briefly turns to Byakuya. Byakuya, who had manipulated the crime scene to resemble Genocider's work. However, Kyoko then uncovers the truth. Chihiro was actually killed in the boys' locker room, not the girls', and was biologically male despite presenting as female. Byakuya admits to tampering with the crime scene purely for his own amusement, but insists he did not commit the murder. Celestia's testimony about Chihiro carrying a sports bat with a jersey leads to Mondo inadvertently revealing knowledge of the jersey's color, exposing himself as the real killer. Mondo confesses. Monokuma explains that Chihiro had confided in Mondo about his true gender and sought his guidance to grow stronger. Burdened by his own secret, that he caused his brother's death to maintain his gang's unity, Mondo grew envious of Chihiro's courage and, in a fit of rage, killed him, later moving the body and destroying the handbook to conceal his guilt. As punishment, Mondo is placed inside a spinning cage resembling a motorcycle wheel until he is liquefied into butter. His death devastates Kiyotaka, who had recently formed a bond with him. With the third floor now accessible, the group explores new areas and Monokuma then reveals a new incentive, a staggering cash reward of 10 billion yen for whoever manages to graduate. They soon stumble upon Chihiro's old laptop, which houses an AI program called Alter Ego. The AI promises to decrypt files hidden on the device and later uplifts Kiyotaka by imitating Mondo's encouraging words. Alter Ego also presents a strange photograph depicting Leon, Chihiro, and Mondo together. However, the laptop suddenly disappears, leading Byakuya to suspect that a mole is lurking among them. The next morning, Celestia claims to have been attacked by someone in a robotic costume who abducted Haifumi. The group later discovers Haifumi gravely injured in the library. They split into groups to pursue the culprit, but chaos ensues as bodies begin to pile up. Haifumi is found dead. Kiyotaka is also discovered slain, and both corpses mysteriously vanish before being rediscovered in the art supply room. Before his final breath, Haifumi critically utters the name Yasuhiro. This casts suspicion on fortune teller Yasuhiro Hagakure, especially since Kyoko later finds him trapped inside the robot suit. During the trial, Makoto and Kyoko argue that Yasuhiro could not have been the murderer, given that he lacked the ability to design the suit or move the bodies in it. And evidence reveals that Haifumi faked his initial death and was actually the one who killed Kiyotaka, moving his body before being murdered himself. The true culprit is revealed to be Celestia, whose slip-up about knowing there was a second victim before it was officially announced exposes her. Makoto deduces that Haifumi's dying words Yasuhiro were actually pointing to Celestia's real name, Taiko Yasuhiro. Accepting her fate, Celestia confesses she manipulated Haifumi into helping her, promising escape in exchange for loyalty, only to betray and kill him. She admits her motive was greed, driven by the reward money and her dream of buying a castle. Her execution mirrors a witch's burning at the stake, ending with her being run over by a fire truck. Afterward, Kyoko tasks Makoto with investigating a hidden chamber behind the Wo's restroom, where he uncovers confidential records and a cryptic note that reads, "You must not escape from here." However, he is struck unconscious by an unknown assailant, and upon waking finds the documents gone. While returning to his dorm, Makoto glimpses a confrontation between Sakura and Monokuma in the gymnasium. He overhears that Sakura has been coerced into acting as Monokuma's mole, with her family dojo being held hostage. Unsure of what to think, Makoto chooses not to reveal this information immediately, angering Kyoko, who accuses him of keeping secrets. On the newly opened 4th floor, the group once again contacts Alter Ego. The AI reveals that Hope's Peak Academy had been locked down due to a major incident, and hence, that the true headmaster may be responsible. Alter Ego also presents another peculiar photo, this time showing Sayaka, Celestia, and Haifumi together. Monokuma then publicly exposes Sakura as the mole. His blow causes tensions within the group, especially when Ali lashes out after hearing cruel words about her friend. Later, Alter Ego requests to be connected directly to the school network, hoping to aid in their escape. And despite the risks, Makoto and Kyoko agree, setting him up in the hidden room. Not long after, Makoto, Kyoko, and Ali discover Sakura's body in the rec room, which had been locked from the inside. A furious Ali directs her suspicion toward Byakuya. During the subsequent trial, it is revealed that Yasuhiro had struck Sakura with a glass bottle out of fear, but this was not the fatal blow. Toko, who fainted upon seeing Sakura's bloody head and transformed into Genocider Show, also hit her with another bottle, but again, this was not the cause. Byakuya presents a bottle of poison, suggesting it had replaced Sakura's protein shake. Ali shockingly confesses that she herself poisoned Sakura's drink, but further analysis by Makoto and Kyoko proves otherwise. Sakura had in fact taken her own life to prevent further bloodshed. Ali had only tried to steer the trial toward a false conclusion, believing Monokuma's forged suicide note that implied Sakura was suffering and that everyone deserved to die. Monokuma cruelly reveals the real note, which shows Sakura's true wish for everyone to survive and escape together. Though her selfless sacrifice inspires the group, Monokuma delivers another devastating blow by showing that Alter Ego had been caught attempting to hack the network. He pummels the laptop. Holy shit, was this necessary? Later that night, Kyoko secretly asks Makoto to help her misdirect Monokuma so she can conduct her own investigation. When she returns, she warns Makoto about a hidden 16th student, the ultimate despair, Mukuro Ikusaba. The following day, Monokuma summons everyone to the gymnasium, where he reveals the body of Mukuro Ikusaba, dressed in battle gear and wearing a mask. They take off the mask, but the body explodes. The next day during trial, they suspect Kyoko because of her long absence. Monokuma deliberately manipulates the proceedings, steering the students toward suspecting Kyoko as the culprit. Under pressure, Kyoko is unable to provide an alibi, causing suspicion to fall heavily upon her. In a shocking twist, Monokuma then redirects suspicion toward Makoto, claiming that he is in fact the real killer. Despite Kyoko's attempts to defend him, the majority sides with Monokuma's accusations. Monokuma gleefully declares that Makoto will face execution. However, just as the execution sequence begins, Alter Ego suddenly intervenes from beyond destruction, activating a hidden program designed to protect Makoto. Instead of dying, Makoto is dropped into a garbage pit beneath the school. Makoto takes time to reflect, piecing together various inconsistencies in Monokuma's story and realizing there is more to the academy and what has been revealed. Eventually, with Kyoko's secret assistance, he manages to escape the garbage pit and reunite with the group. Together, Makoto and Kyoko begin exposing the flaws in Monokuma's account, building toward a final confrontation. We find out Kyoko's dad was the real headmaster and he built this school to protect the current students, but he was murdered by Monokuma. The ultimate class trial begins with Monokuma pressing the group to abandon all hope, but Makoto stands firm, urging everyone to embrace hope rather than despair. He presents the truth. Mukuro Ikusaba was not the true mastermind, but rather a pawn. The real mastermind, the person behind Monokuma and the one orchestrating the killing game, had manipulated everything from the shadows. One by one, the remaining students lend their voices in support of Makoto. At last, the true villain is unmasked. Junko Inoshima, who had staged her own death earlier and masqueraded as her twin sister Mukuro. She reveals herself as the ultimate despair. Reveling in the chaos she engineered, Junko explains her motives with gleeful nihilism, emphasizing her obsession with despair over any conventional goal. She outlines how she meticulously designed each motive, each manipulation, and each death to plunge her classmates into deeper hopelessness. With her identity and crimes exposed, the final vote is held. The students unanimously declare Junko guilty. True to the rules she created, Junko accepts her fate with manic excitement, declaring that nothing could be more despair-inducing, and thus satisfying, than her own execution. She is subjected to a combination of every previous execution endured by the other culprits, each one carried out in rapid succession, before finally being crushed to death. After Junko's demise, the survivors, Makoto, Kyoko, Byakuya, Toko, Yasuhiro, and Aoi, stand together in front of the school's massive doors. But that's all for today. Make sure to like and sub.